He's an 8-time Louisiana Association of Broadcasters Award winner. And he snapped a ball through his legs.
Wait, why does your name get to go first?
Shut up.
This is Scone T.
Because they made us.
What's good, peeps? Welcome in to Oliver Twist in Baton Rouge. It's another edition of Scone T. I guess it is officially a game week, a college football game week edition.
It is a game week,
of
Matt.
Scone T. Week 0. You fired up about Nebraska against Northwestern in Ireland?
Actually, I am because just completely randomly, because I sometimes like to be contrarian for no reason whatsoever. I have taken up the Nebraskan cause.
Oh, Jesus.
Jake is a huge non-believer of the logic of, hey, Nebraska only lost like every game by like 3 points, so maybe they'll be good this year. And he's gone so hard against it that the contrarian in me has caused me to go against that. So I'm saying, shuck him, shuck you two.
You're a Nebraska guy.
It's fucking shucking time, okay?
You're a Nebraska guy.
And Nebraska
Mickey
is.
Joseph?
I think we have two stake bets that are very random. One is whether or not Kirk Cousins will make the playoffs.
Okay.
And the second is whether or not Nebraska will get bowl eligible. So I have a lot on the line in Ireland this fall.
They'll get bowl
weekend.
They'll get bowl eligible. Nebraska won 6.
Maybe.
Can you name any other Week 0 football game?
Duquesne and Florida State.
I was about to say aside from Duquesne, for any other Week 0 football game.
Austin P and William and Mary.
That's Western Kentucky.
Oh, it's Western Kentucky.
So
shit.
stupid trying to look at my screen.
No, I cannot.
It's Scone and T.
But I do care about Florida State and Duquesne, and I do care about Nebraska Northwestern.
We'll talk about that in a sec. This is Scone and T. He's tons of fun. I'm Matt. We're here every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. from Oliver Twist in Baton Rouge. If you can't be with us live in person, you can watch us live on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube or the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Facebook page. So thank you for being here. Whether you're live now or watching or listening on demand, please smash the like button, share the Facebook page, and like the page and all that good stuff as well. I thought by now we would have had a starting quarterback named.
Yes.
I thought that when they got to the halfway point of camp, if you basically had 4 weeks, when you got through 2 weeks, I figured they would name a starter. That's what Brian Kelly did a year ago at Notre Dame.
I think it's what they would have wanted to do.
You think if there was a clear answer?
Well, okay, you help me out here because it's something that I kind of discussed this morning. Now, they're saying that they will have a decision by Sunday night, and they will announce on Monday or Tuesday. If we want to be cynical about this, there are a couple of reasons to falsely extend this competition. One of them would be to fuck with Florida State, because you are talking about two relatively different skill sets, right? Like, you're going to prepare for Jaden Daniels different than you would Garrett Nussmeier. And also, if you want to keep both quarterbacks happy, right, and not have somebody freak out, and if it's like Garrett Nussmeier gets named starter, not have Jaden Daniels, who's the Clemson quarterback a few years ago, they didn't transfer anything, just walked away from the team. And well, look, I don't want to go too down.
Kelly Bryant.
Yes, Kelly Bryant. I don't want to go too far down that road. That was a good pull. I don't want to go too far down that road because I actually don't think that Nuss or Jane Daniels would do that, but the cynic in me is saying, okay, these are elements why you would falsely extend. That said, Matt,
bro, look.
I know, what is this right here? This shrimp and grits? Oh my God, dude, a tiny little cast iron. It's a cute little cast iron.
Bro, the food here is, it's
really fire. It's kind of crazy, dude.
It's such a sneaky good food place,
I agree.
man. I'm telling you, you got to get by Oliver Twist. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, no. So that's the cynical view. But if we're being honest with what you have seen out of practice, which I think is more than what I've seen, but what I have seen firsthand, the quarterbacks have been pretty equal, man.
That's fair.
Like they've been performing very well. Both have.
I agree.
I think Nuss has been a little quicker and better on his reads, and obviously Jaden's been good in that regard. If it was just some huge gap, they'd be over. But Jaden's been good in that regard as well. Nuss may have been slightly better, and obviously Jaden's been slightly better in terms of creating when things break down and extending play. So, no, I kind of take this. I feel a bit naive. I think that's why you're hearing the hesitance in my voice. But I kind of take Brian Kelly at face value here. I think it is close. And I think they will spend this weekend making the tough choices about who they think gives them the better opportunity to play. I also think if you're the guy that loses the job, you have to remain locked in because there's certainly a chance you will play during the season. You only have 2 guys, exactly. So injuries, you're always there. But even beyond that, right, if they play poorly, even in game number 1, maybe you could see a switch. So, no, I'm
Did you hear what Brian Kelly said on Tuesday about the possibility of playing both against Florida State?
Is this the quote right here? He said,
no, it's not that
No,
one.
it's not that one.
He, essentially,
I did see somewhere he said that he'd be willing to.
He said, I'm going to paraphrase what he said. He said, we don't want to do that, but if we start one guy and he's not doing well, we'll put the other one in.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
I'm way oversimplifying, but in so many words, that's what he said. So whoever starts, they would love in an ideal scenario that person just lead the offense and they churn and burn, and it never becomes a thing. But the problem is, if the offense scuffling, the second you put the other guy in, you immediately have a quarterback controversy. Because now anytime either one guy is struggling, you're looking to the bench to go, okay, is it time to put the other guy in to jumpstart? And you lived through that with the Jefferson and Lee thing in 2010, which was so weird. Like on passing downs, they bring in Jarrett to throw the ball on
third. It was a Les Miles special, baby.
It was so fucking weird. But that's the thing that happens when you have a quarterback controversy. And you don't want to play 2. You'd rather whoever it is just play really well and have them be the guy. And, whoever that's going to be. I've said all along that I think Daniels takes the first snap. Whether or not he plays well enough to keep the job, we'll see. But I do think, you asked again, I haven't seen everything, but from what I have seen, I would tell you if there is a differentiator, I think it's Daniels' feet. He is really dynamic running the ball, and I am just really apprehensive about this offensive line. I think all those guys are really good, like we've talked about. I think they all have the potential. All the 5 guys that we assume are going to be starters have the potential to play in the NFL. But freshman left tackle, guy who's never played center, a guy who was a tackle last year playing guard, all this unit just working together now. I expect them to get better as the season goes along, but I don't know that they're going to be great up there. And I think if you have, let's be real. That's one of the reasons that was a big detriment to Miles is, you've got a shaky offensive line. You need a quarterback that's going to be able to make plays with his feet if he needs to. And I think that's probably the differentiator right now.
It's interesting because, like you said, from a talent standpoint, I actually like them on the offensive line. But you're right. You have a true freshman left tackle. You have 2 transfer guards. You have a center that's never played center before and a right tackle that's never played right tackle. That is not ideal. That said, you do have a full year under Brad Davis. And if you look at the growth out of Brad Davis here recently, I really enjoyed it. I was really impressed with it, I should say. And so giving him a full offseason combined with better talent, I guess it's tough too, Matt, because I got to stay and watch the rest of that scrimmage on Saturday, and when I finally got my kids to kind of settle down and I could sit there and watch it, like the 4 drives that I watched, the offense went up and down the field. And, it was touchdown, like long, sustained drives. Like, I watched Marcus Dumerville lock up B.J. Ojolari for an entire drive.
Sweet. I think that's great. I would rather see that.
Where that becomes concerning, though, is like you said, right? There still is an idea that maybe this offensive line isn't as good as I think. Does that mean that this defensive line isn't as good as I think? Which is weird considering that LSU lands 4 players on the All-SEC teams, the first 3 coaches' teams, 3 of which were from the defensive line. So I'm struggling with a bit of the Cam paradox myself. I will say this.
I don't struggle with that. Real quick, sorry to interject, but we know the defensive linemen are good. They've been good in real games. I don't worry about them.
Okay, well then I think you should feel better about the offensive line.
I know Ali Gay can play. I know B.J. Ojolari can play. I know Mason Smith and Jaquelin Roy can play.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I know they're good.
Maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like some of their success came in out-of-conference games. They did dominate Alabama last year, so I guess that's that. But Alabama's offensive line actually last year was not that good. Remember, they gave up insane amounts of TFLs. They were not a good running team. So, I guess I've been kind of feeling that if LSU's going to hit the over and they're going to go like 8-4 and prove Vegas wrong and prove Bill Connolly's S&P Plus wrong, I think the defense has to be dominant. I don't know if I'm there with that group. If you are there with that group, then I would say feel better about the offensive line, because this is an offensive line that at times has really handled this defensive front. And I saw it on Saturday in long drive, 2-minute type of situations. And then, like, you saw things like Nuss making the right choices, getting the ball out quickly in rhythm, and things like Will Campbell, he got beat badly immediately, should have been a sack, and Jay Daniels turns it into 30 yards. So, no, I
that's the differentiator for Daniels.
I will say this. Okay, this is what I'll say for the offensive line, because I know I'm kind of, I feel better about the two deep than I have in like the last 2 years. So since national championship, this is the best two deep offensive line that LSU has had. I'm not sure where their ceiling is or where they're going to be at the beginning, because like you said, it's a lot of new, but I feel really good about the potential of that first group and good about the depth that they have for the first time in a long time.
Okay. And then, I mean, another thing too, which I talked about a little bit on AFR today, Wednesday, and we haven't talked about really at all, which is Mike Denbrock. I mean, there has to be something to be said for look at the
going from Peach to Denbrock.
Yes, but also just look at the last 5 years, where you had the Les Cam thing that was just, I know everyone says Les was meddling, but make no mistake, Cam Cameron was in lockstep with Les Miles. Like, I've heard the stories from staff members that, like, on Thursdays, them two would get in a room and kick everybody else out. Like, they were
roommates.
They were in lockstep with what they wanted to do. But then you go to the Matt Canada disaster, and then you go back to Ensminger, and then Brady comes in, and who really gets the credit?
And by the way, wait, can I be validated on Matt Canada? Because it would not have been a disaster had they not over-interfered. I mean, that man is still the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator. Okay, he is different than Jake Peetz. Like, I don't want anybody listening to put Jake Peetz and Matt Canada in the same category.
Yeah, well, the whole situation was a disaster.
Yes.
Matt Canada.
Him and O hated each other, and then O didn't like his offense,
look,
et cetera.
We all know the story. They thought they had Lane Kiffin. Saban basically intervened. Kiffin takes the FAU job. O had to make a splash. Panamsky goes and finds Matt Canada. O talks to him on the phone one time, and they hire him. I mean, that's Ogeron in a nutshell, effectively. And they hated each other. Like, they were Ogeron went to Joe Oliva in the first month of the season and wanted to fire Matt Canada. He went to his AD to fire the – anyway, so Matt Canada –
But my point is Matt Canada is not Jake Peetz. I just want to be clear with this conversation.
He had already been a successful OC.
Yes.
I mean, they scored 42 a game that year at Pitt.
Yeah, beat Clemson.
He was unconventional, but – with the shifting and all this.
He still is. Did you see Pittsburgh?
Absolutely.
Like the triple motions and everything.
It's kind of crazy that Mike Tomlin allows that
exactly.
in the NFL. But anyway.
Kenny Pickett's balling. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, Matt Canada, Pitt.
There you go.
Anyway. Denbrock. I think there is something to be said for head coach OC in line, and it's not less in Cam. You know what I mean? The fact that you have synergies there, they want to do the same thing and accomplish the same thing. It feels like everybody offensively is pulling in the same direction. You didn't.
It feels like everybody in the program is pulling in the same direction, which is what I've been watching. Have you watched The Follow at all in LSU Gold? Full disclosure, I'm doing a podcast behind The Follow, where I am paid to do that podcast. No crazy amount, but I just let people know, and you just do what you will with it. But episode 3 of The Follow, they dive into the process. And when I tell you the meticulous attention to detail, attention to detail, the fact that you see these buzzwords cropping up with like academic supervisors, Dr. Arnold, the director of player development, the strength coach, like
when everybody's
using the same vocabulary. Everybody has a very clear understanding of what the expectations are for their job within the larger picture. And honestly, that's how anybody wants to work, right? You want to work where okay, what do I need to do in order to do my job well? What are we looking for? And then within that, allow me to accomplish those goals. And like, when I'm watching this, the word that is naturally popping into my head is alignment, which I know sounds cheesy and overwrought. But a lot of times, these kind of culture theory things, they are a bit cheesy and overwrought until you engage with them and they start to work. And that was one of the other interesting parts about the episode is you hear the players say that, where at first, like, man, like, why they got, like, ain't nobody gonna do this. Why they got us doing this? Like the mental training and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, they're applying it in their everyday life and they're seeing positive benefits. And then guys are buying in. And then you see Yali Gay talking after a practice, telling the team, look, man, if one of your guys gets on you, he's not trying to be annoying or anything. We just got to shape up. Like, we got a new way that we're doing things, and we have to do it. And so, no, the process that Brian Kelly, I can't remember where we started with all this, but the process that he's implemented is so damn solid. And on the football field,
I had said Denbrock and Kelly are pulling the same direction. You said everyone's
exactly right. And that extends now to the football field, and an offensive coordinator that has a ton of experience, a ton of success. Brian Kelly has a ton of experience and success. I don't know exactly what the offense will be, but they will not be bad operationally, right? Like last year.
You mean you're not going to be calling timeouts coming out of kickoffs?
Yes.
Timeouts coming out of timeouts? You're not at the quarterback stand in the huddle going, send me in a fucking play, please?
Oh,
we're not going to see that?
The amount of third down timeouts that were called last year were fucking inexcusable. Max Johnson. Why do you think Max Johnson transferred? He had to go through the Pete's experience. Whew. And I tried to justify, man. I tried to explain it away and be all optimistic and all this sorts of stuff. But the bottom line is Pete's wasn't ready, and he couldn't handle it. Denbrock can. He is beyond proven. So is Kelly. And so, if nothing else, operationally, it will be a solid offense.
There's never, ever, ever a reasonable explanation or valid explanation for hiring a first-time coordinator at LSU. A year ago, hiring Pete's and Durante Jones at LSU, it was absurd beyond measure. Look at what Brian Kelly has done by contrast. Mike Denbrock, who's been an OC at every level and successful. Matt House, obviously, was a very successful defensive coordinator in the SEC. Yeah, I think we're good. I think you and I did this exercise on Scone T when Brian Kelly got hired, and we said they are better at every staff spot except special teams coordinator, where Greg McMahon was.
Yeah.
Maybe Corey Raymond as well in the secondary.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Even though I also don't want to lump Durante Jones with Jake Peetz. Because after the bye week, when they let him run a defense, like, he was actually pretty damn effective. I agree. You shouldn't hire a first-time coordinator. Like, I will agree with that.
There was no reason to hire
I will agree with that.
Jones.
But Durante Jones, I feel a bit bad for him because he had potential. Like, he can be a great coordinator on this level of college football. And I think you saw that when finally, post-bye week, they were like, hey, you know what? You can actually run some cover zero and blitz, and you can kind of do creative defensive things.
All right, by the way, we're at Oliver Twist. Every week when we're here, there's a break-even pour. Tonight, it's their Heaven's Door barrel pick. Heaven's Door is it's Bob Dylan inspired or themed, hence Heaven's Door, knocking on Heaven's Door. Apparently, Bob Dylan is really into
Ravens?
No, not wheels.
Cogs? Gears?
Gears. Thank you. Shit.
I love Gears.
Gears. So he's in, and so that's the art on
Gears
the
of War
on the
3, one of my favorite video games of all time.
Heaven's Door is really good juice. So these are $4 a pour here tonight. They're Heaven's Door barrel picks. So come on by and get a little bit. We will obviously get to your questions as well. All right, let's. We got a lot of ground to cover here tonight as well. We've talked a lot. Has it? I'll sort of just, I guess, jump ahead a little bit. Has it changed? Is your feeling on the season changed at all?
No. I am. The only thing I'm getting concerned about is I've been very consistently 8-4, right?
Yeah.
I have, but what's interesting to me is me saying 8-4, I feel like is me fighting against my own natural homerism and optimism, right? I feel like that's me kind of checking myself and saying 8-4. But you see what Vegas thinks, they're at 6.5. You see what the S&P Plus thinks, which I'm not as worried about because LSU is kind of like USC in that they're kind of unprojectable. Like something like S&P Plus is a predictive measure will not smile kindly upon them because it's a completely new team. So how can you really predict what's going to happen? But there's just a lot of the college football intelligentsia that is telling me 8-4 is too bullish on LSU. So I remain constant. The only thing that has changed is that I'm kind of feeling now like maybe I'm falling into the same homerism, overly optimistic trap that I have the last couple of years. What I fall back on is that Brian Kelly and his resume is the difference, right?
LSU a year ago with a better coaching staff beats UCLA. And LSU with a better coaching staff a year ago beats Arkansas.
The only thing I'll say about the UCLA thing is I don't think we give enough credence to the hurricane shit. Like, that's real. Like, sitting on the bus for 16 hours and all that. And I'm saying, like, I would have loved to see how that would have played out had you not had that shit. I'm not saying you would have won. I am not saying that. But that was a really shitty hand to get dealt for that game specifically. But, yes, Arkansas, yeah, for sure.
They should have beaten Arkansas overtime in Baton Rouge.
Yep.
You start
Auburn.
You start Max Johnson. He plays one fucking series. Then you bench him and you play Nussmeier the whole rest of the game. They don't move the ball at all. Auburn, you absolutely should have won that game in Baton Rouge. That one was fucking anyway, those three right there, you're a 9-win team.
Yeah.
I mean, so think about how quickly it could have been different.
And then you go back to the
confident.
5-5 2020 year, and if you don't fucking have the worst defense of all time against Mizzou and Mississippi State, you actually end up 7-3. Right, but them's the breaks, right? That's the kind of fucked up part, right? If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a happy fucking Christmas.
But the difference is I can look at the coaching staff and say, Bo Pelini was the problem.
Yeah,
well, you hired Bo Pelini, who was the
fair.
last fucking guy in the building every day and the first fucking guy to leave. Well, that's because you hired a shitty staff. I don't think that's the case with this team.
That's true.
I'm also telling you that there's LSU fans who have bought the hype around this team in camp, and they're saying they're going to be a 10-win team, and I'm like, no, they're not. Like, the fact you are not better at cornerback with Jarek Converse and a transfer from McNeese than Elias Ricks and Dwight McLaughlin. You're not better there. You're not. Like, you're not better at linebacker with Greg Penn starting, or you're getting hyped about Harold Perkins. 5-star, I'd love the future, but, like, you objectively have to look at the fact that Damone Clark was a 135 tackle guy. He's not there anymore.
But also, we thought Damone Clark sucked entering the year.
No, I didn't think Damone Clark sucked. I didn't think he'd get 135 tackles.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. A lot of people were down on Damone Clark.
Damone Clark at the end, Damone Clark got the 18 jersey in 2020, really didn't play well, but in the final few weeks, he really is the one that transformed that defense. When he finally just stopped thinking and got aggressive, that's when they actually, at the end of the season...
Wasn't it also Baskerville coming back in the mix as well? But I feel like 2 years in a row, Baskerville had this weird, we're not going to play him, and then he comes in and he has this big impact. And now he's not playing again, kind of.
Damone Clark, I thought, came on late in 2020 and was really good last year. So, but point is, you're not better there. Offensive line has objectively has major questions. We haven't even talked about special teams. Like,
I'm really worried about kicker, dude. That's what's holding me.
That's the thing that worries me the most. Like, I think about the game at Auburn in 2018 when Cole Tracy makes the kick. Or, when you beat Miami that year and Cole Tracy hit like 5 field goals. The Mississippi State game in the rain where he just kept making field goals in the rain. Even the bowl game against UCF. UCF had a big rally and got within 8, but the only reason they ever got closer is Cole Tracy gave you such a cushion because he kept making fucking field goals.
Miami.
Well, I said Miami.
Okay.
But that's the point. Like, maybe, like, we would have been having the same conversation in 2018. We did about Cole Tracy. It would have been the kid from 1AA Division II Assumption College, and Cole Tracy was fucking awesome. Maybe best season for a kicker LSU's ever had until the guy that followed and became the best kicker LSU ever had. So maybe,
but again, we've also
maybe
had
Damian Ramos will be awesome, but it's an
true.
objectively fair question to ask.
But also, I don't think that Ramos has had the hype that York or Tracy has had leaving camp, right? Like, they were clearly the number one guy pretty much throughout all of camp, if I'm remembering correctly. It has been more open at kicker, and it seems like Ramos has just been the best of a more average bunch. We will see. Kicker is a position where ultimately you will prove it in the few opportunities that you are given. It's just that I do think that as college football fans, LSU fans have a bit of a warped perspective on kicker. I mean, not even Nick Saban could figure out that position for a decade. And you've kind of had it figured out, save for 1 year, for about 2 decades now. And this kind of has the feeling of potentially maybe a down year. We will see. I'm going to give him a chance to earn it, like you said. But it is a concern, especially because, like, the SEC feels like one giant fucking mud fight right now. Like once you get past Alabama and Georgia, like, everybody, it feels like, is going to go 4-4 in the SEC, just kind of cannibalizing one another each and every week. And when you're in those kind of fights, obviously kicking makes all the difference in the world.
I think LSU is going to be a decided underdog against Alabama.
Yeah.
They will be heavy favorites in their 3 home non-conference games.
Yeah.
I think they will be close to a touchdown favorite at home against Mississippi State.
So, do you want me to tell you what somebody said earlier on the odds?
Sure.
No, keep on. We'll see where it lines up with the predictions.
Every other game, Florida State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Arkansas, A&M, I'm leaving one out. Every other game, I think you're going to see a spread within 3 points one way or the other. Either LSU 3 or dog by 3 within that. So, yeah, I think you're talking about a whole bunch of close games where special teams are going to matter. I don't think that's like a huge surprise.
I don't know if this is correct, but somebody in the chat did say earlier that right now the only SEC team LSU is favored against is Mississippi State, and it's 3.5, and that everybody else is favorites over LSU. For whatever that's worth. By the way, these shrimp and grits are incredible, y'all.
I think LSU is a favorite over Tennessee. At least they were at media days, unless that line has moved. Anyway, so yes, special teams is clearly going to matter. There's 2 other things that I wanted to talk about. Anything else you want? Then we get to questions. One, did you see the dickhead from Notre Dame who went on Crane and Company?
I haven't gotten to watch the full video yet. I basically got the gist of it, which he was saying LSU didn't have a talent, or Notre Dame didn't have a talent problem. They had a big game problem, saying Brian Kelly couldn't get him ready or win the big game.
So David Cohn on Crane and Company, and I hate doing this thing where it's like you take a talking head's opinion and a dissected opinion. It's just I don't like doing that. Like, everyone's entitled to an opinion for whatever, as wrong as it may be. But what I disagree with is that I think there's this idea which is misinformed. What the guy from Irish Breakdown said was, he was asked point blank by David Cohn if he thought Brian Kelly would win a natty, and he said no. And he said Brian Kelly's no longer the coach he was at Cincinnati and other places, and it's not sour grapes that he was ready for Brian Kelly to be gone after 2020. And you may, 10 years long, there's a lot of people that were ready for Les Miles to leave. I mean,
familiarity breeds contempt.
10 years is a long time, so I could buy that. But what he said was, Brian Kelly isn't going to recruit at the level needed to win a national championship. But then he goes on to say, talent wasn't the problem at Notre Dame, it was lack of production in big games, and that was Brian Kelly. I'm like, well, hold on. So he had the talent at Notre Dame but couldn't coach it, but he's coming to LSU with the resources of the state and he's not going to get the talent? It doesn't make any sense. That's number one. And I'll reiterate this again, and I know I've said this on a lot of platforms, so some of you have heard it. Sorry if you have.
Fuck it. We're good.
But I'll say it again. I know the Notre Dame culture very well. Lived there for a year. Brother's got 2 degrees from there. I mean, I know it. I literally lived there. It is so strange because it's a great place and a lot of people love it, but the people who are inside of that bubble think it is pristine and grandiose and there's nothing better. And I know that this might sound like I'm outside, but I'm telling you, that's the mentality. You live on campus for 3 years. You live in the same dorm. There are no athletic dorms. So, my brother had a big defensive end who lived in the dorm next door
when
to
I was
him.
being recruited, that was a big point that they made. They were like, look, y'all, we don't do that athletic dorm bullshit. You're going to be just like every other student.
And that's not a great thing for a lot of athletes that don't want to be there. And my point is, Notre Dame, the state of Indiana, if Brian Kelly ever wanted to recruit the best prospects, he had to get on a plane and fly. If he wants to recruit now, he gets in a car for 5 minutes and goes to Catholic High and sees Shelton Sampson.
Yeah.
He gets in a car and goes 15 minutes to Woodlawn and sees Ricky
he's
Collins.
talked about that, right?
He gets in a car and goes 5 minutes to Liberty to see his fucking running back. He gets in a car and goes 10 minutes north and goes and sees Kylan Jackson at Zachary.
Oh, that's good.
Bro, I mean, it's a completely different universe that Notre Dame folks don't understand because they can't allow themselves to believe there's something better than what they do. So if it's not us, it's Brian Kelly is the idea. And I'm telling you, if Notre Dame ever wanted to, if they ever wanted to, they could remove their academic restrictions for 50 guys or 15 guys a year, go get some big fucking NIL deals and bring in fucking ballers and own. The same way that Like, you see it in different places. You see, like, look at Bishop Gorman in Vegas.
Bro, I learned today that Florida is like the top public academic institution in the country.
Like, bro, you can, like, there's a way.
Mind.
Like, there's a way for Notre Dame to do it, but they're just not willing. They're not willing to, and it's why it's been 34 years since they've won one, because they're not willing to lower their academic standard or make certain concessions or bend a corner to get a guy. And if that's what you want, cool. Like, respect. You have your priorities. I'm not saying you need to value athletics over academics, and I get it. Look at fucking Harvard. I mean, Harvard, Yale. Like, if they wanted to, they could go build a fucking campus out of gold.
Did you hear that Texas is about to pass up Harvard as the most expensive, or as the richest school in the country?
But the point is, that's Notre Dame's problem. And Brian Kelly was constantly fighting against that. He could get Notre Dame to a playoff. But once he ran up against the big motherfuckers like Bama or Clemson or Ohio State or Georgia or LSU, he didn't have a good enough roster 1-85 to get over that hump. And they didn't just lose, they were embarrassed in those games. That's the problem. That's what they'll always fight against.
The problem with me as well with that logic is, isn't it kind of inherently flawed if you're saying it's not us, it's Brian Kelly, and Brian Kelly is the winningest coach in school history? Right? Like, isn't there a huge disconnect there? Like, so the man who has won more games at your school than anybody else, he only won them because of y'all, even though when he showed up, y'all were bad, and then y'all got good and won 10-plus game 5 years in a row after the 4-8 year. Man, did you read? Did you read Wilson Alexander's piece on the mental training the other day? And is it Dr. Ackerman? I really
respect
apologize.
Wilson. Sorry, I didn't read your piece.
I'm trying to do this. I talked about it earlier in the week, but the reason why I bring it up is because after that 4-8 year, Brian Kelly got with, I believe it's Dr. Shelby Ackerman. I apologize again if I'm getting it wrong.
It's all right. It's good.
But she is an athlete that focuses on mind training and the ability of the mind to affect you physiologically. And Jack Besh, even in the story, talks about, like, doing exercises like holding a nut, like nuts tied to a string, and he holds it out there with his hand, and you tell you keep your hand still, but you tell your brain to spin the nut, and it starts to spin. You tell it to stop, and it stops. Now, obviously, your hand is moving, right? But the point of it is, you think you're keeping your hand still, but your brain is making it move, and you're giving it kind of like, well, it's got a weird smile, right? But
no, I was talking about because you were talking about spinning nuts, and you didn't make a fucking sophomore joke. I'm stunned. Like, this is we have completely crossed into new territory where you're talking about spinning nuts on strings, and I'm the one smirking.
Well, check it out. Did you know that Ecuadorians have the largest penises on Earth of any country, an average of 6.93 inches?
I did know that.
Did you really?
Because I get to listen to a window of OTB when I'm driving through the school, and you did mention penis sizes today, and I said, you know what? This is on brand. This is what I come here for.
That's 10% of their height, which is also kind of crazy. Like, the average Ecuadorian height, that's 10%. Okay, well, let's not get lost here. So the point is, after that year, they bring in Ackerman, they work on this mind training, and they have a ton of success in Notre Dame. This is something that I've always been very passionate about, which is controlling your mind, working it out in the same way that you get in the weight room and squat heavy and clean heavy, and how that helps you prepare for big moments. And Mike Jones Jr. talks about it, and he talks about how, he always had really bad pregame anxiety, something that I struggled with as well. And yeah, you get the first hit, it goes out the window, whatever, right? But it can be a detriment at times. No, never like that. But, just really, 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 really nervous,
I knew a guy in high school that had to throw up before every game.
I knew a guy like that too.
Had to make himself throw up.
Look,
and he was like, once he did, he was good.
Weird.
But he had to go throw up before he could play.
So the point is, like, specifically in the Mike Jones instance, he's like, well, and then they taught me, like, that feeling, that anxiety is just your body telling you it is ready to perform. And yes, that is simple, but sometimes you need things just simply said to you, and it becomes a mantra, and it changes you. It literally changes you. And so this idea, this mental training that LSU is proactively engaging in, is not just going to pay dividends on the football field. Like, I want to do it for my everyday life, but I love that they are doing it because it's something that Alabama has been doing for a decade now, and it's something that I think will make a massive difference this year. And I thought Wilson did a great job of kind of breaking it all down.
It's Brett McCabe, by the way. at Alabama?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So Dr. Brett McCabe, who was a pitcher at LSU, Catholic High, shout out. He's a sports psychologist who lives in the Birmingham area, and Nick Saban and Alabama, the whole Alabama athletic department has retained him for 10 years, maybe longer, for that purpose. So, all right, Scone T, if you're 233 watching live on YouTube, that's awesome. Please smash the like button if you would. Take a quick second. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, shout out to you as well. Please like the 104.5 ESPN page. Share that post. We appreciate it very, very much. Thanks for being there. There was another direction you wanted to go?
Let me try to remember what I wanted to talk about. Something I talked about on the show today that I'm very excited about. I'm getting really pumped about Malik Neighbors in the slot. He's not too big. He's 6 foot, but he's 6 foot 200, right? He's maybe a bit bigger than what we think of as a traditional slot, but there was a really interesting article in The Athletic the other day about how the Wes Welker type of slot receiver is going out the window, and the power slot receiver is a bit more in. It's not completely out. Nothing's absolute, right?
We've seen a bunch of that in the NFL. Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes. They point to Bruce Arians being. Bruce Arians is at the ground floor of the power slot idea with Hines Ward, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown last year.
Yeah.
And he had 2/3 of his snaps.
Look at Michael Thomas
from the slot.
I mean, Michael Thomas isn't playing wide. I mean,
exactly.
the bigger body dude in the slot, like, it is a thing because it's creating mismatches.
It creates mismatches.
But I don't look at Malik Neighbors and think he's big. Malik Neighbors is really fucking fast. A linebacker or a safety, a nickel trying to cover him is going to be a problem.
Yes, because he is still 6 foot 200. That's not small. That's not like Wes Welker. Wes Welker's like 5'9". Hunter Renfro's like what, like 5'10". Like these are tiny boys.
Those are also guys that don't have the speed to play outside.
So that's the point, right? That's the point,
speed.
though. Yes, and that's the point, though, is that it feels obvious now. But forever, people were thinking, okay, because like Malik Neighbors is your second best receiver, so traditional football logic says put him on the outside, opposite of Keishon Butte. LSU is saying no, we're going to put Malik on the inside, and then we can rotate Jack and I don't know, fucking Kyron, like whoever out there, right? Thomas, because Jerry Jenkins, Kyron Lacy, like everybody else, right? And I'm becoming, and because he's been performing so well in camp, I'm getting really pumped up about Malik Neighbors' ability to have a massive impact doing a lot of the wet work in the phone booth over the middle. So, I mean, not much more to say there except for this. This is pretty fucking wild. In 2008, NFL teams used 11 personnel just 34% of the time. This was Wes Welker's second year in New England. By his first year in Denver, 5 years later, the NFL used 11 personnel 51% of the times. So, like, he literally changed the entirety of football, and we are still feeling that trickle-down effect today. Go look at 2019 LSU. What did they use every single down? 11 personnel.
Why are you rubbing your legs?
I got some sexy thighs, man. No. I got some creamy thighs, you know what I'm saying?
Do you wear shorts all the time?
I go back and forth.
It's a lot of thigh.
Well, it's hoochie short season, dude. I mean, thighs are in. And you know what? Like, I'm tired of hiding this light under a bushel. I run, I spin, I work hard for my legs to look good. I want to show them off a little bit. So, like, 5-inch inseams, 7-inch inseams, come check them out. Do you want to rub on them? You want to feel these things?
Nope.
All right,
last thing that that I had to talk about before we get to questions. So line up your questions if you would. Week 0, Florida State is going to play. Do you know the old adage, biggest improvement week 1 to week 2? We saw that last year with UCLA. They played a week 0 game against Hawaii and then played LSU. They certainly were better. Florida State's going to play Duquesne this weekend, so they get a tune-up. LSU doesn't. I really wish LSU had a week 0 game. I do. I'm going to tell you honestly. I wish that LSU was playing, and I'm not super pumped that Florida State gets this dress rehearsal. So what do you think?
No, Alondra says, got a note y'all were live. I clicked on it, and all I hear is creamy thighs. That's right, Alondra. You know the game. Whoop-de-whoop.
You will be seeing Danielle tomorrow in HR, first thing in the morning. You can't mention your creamy thighs to a female employee.
Yes. Well, but it was over the internet, so it's not real. Think about that. You can't prove it. Can't prove I said it. Yeah, I can't for a second year in a row overlook a week 0 game, right? I was very flippant about it last year. It did not matter that UCLA got to play. So I feel like I would be really dumb if I was just to hand wave it away again. So, no, I am concerned. I am concerned that a Florida State team that started awful and finished strong last year ended up 4-4 in the ACC. After starting 0-4 and losing to Jacksonville State, they finished 5-7, 4-4 in the ACC. For the first time, the fans are kind of believing in this team for a while. Like, they feel the positive momentum. I hate that team gets a week to knock the rust off, to figure some things out and to tune up for an LSU that has so much new.
So, like, though, as a player, though, is that legit to have that first week?
I see. Well, maybe that's what I'm saying. I never thought it was, right? Because we played big games to start every year.
So, well, let's see.
But my perspective kind of changed after last year.
9, y'all opened at Washington.
Yep.
So then 10 was North Carolina.
Yep.
And 11 was Oregon.
Yep.
Okay.
So, no, my only firsthand experience was I always thought it was better to start with a good team because it didn't allow you to be complacent and it forced you to, like, really lock in and be ready week 1.
That was the big story in 11 was all the speed of Oregon and basically from the spring practicing on sprinting. I remember that. Like, everything was sprint to drills. It was all just – you want to snap within 3 seconds. It was just
in January when we got back after the 10 season ends, you beat A&M in January, the first workout, Moffitt's like, fucking Oregon's gonna be so fucking fast, fucking bad, just like in your dick about Oregon. I'm like, guys,
Oregon.
January 11th, relax. But no, so I always thought
we got 9 months.
I always thought you want to start with a good team, but now I just feel a bit burned because of what happened last year, dude.
But LSU had a lot of success in those season openers. It's weird that of late it hasn't gone LSU's way. I mean, they went so long, really, from 02, when they lost to Virginia Tech, so really 03 until the season opener again in 16, I guess, against Wisconsin and Green Bay.
Fucking Ryan Ramchick's first ever start. How about that?
That's crazy. 03 to 16. I mean, you didn't lose the season opener. So it's like it never really felt like you were threatened. But now you've lost 2 of your last 4.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it does feel like you've lost 3 now. You've lost 3 of 4 because you lost 16. Though you won 17, 18.
You should have lost 16. That other one to Wisconsin as well.
14 you should have lost, but you rallied and won. But the North Carolina game, that was 14 against Wisconsin in Houston was hold your breath. Kenny Hilliard ripped off a long run late in the game.
Was there a Traven Durrell touchdown mixed in there?
That sounds right. Traven Durrell. Was it thrown by a running back?
That was that weird thing where Traven Durrell had like 5 catches and 5 touchdowns over the first few games. It was just like he never caught the ball, but when he did, it was always a long touchdown.
Oh, am I thinking of when this might have been the Auburn game when you were playing? Cadron Boone threw a touchdown pass. Does that sound right? Does that sound right?
There's a name. No. Auburn 09. It was.
No, this would have been 08 at Auburn. Jarrett Lee's.
You're right. Yeah, no, I think that was Keelan Williams.
Keelan threw the touchdown
to Chris Mitchell.
Chris Mitchell caught. Okay. 86, but 86.
Hey, never forget, Jarrett Lee was college football Lou Holtz and Mark May. When they hand out, they're in the judges' robes and they hand out their awards. Jarrett Lee was Offensive Player of the Week. You got like a great little plaque from him.
Great game-winning touchdown drive, bro. Touchdown pass to Brandon LaFell.
She was tight.
We all thought, here it comes. And then LSU gets up to number 3 in the country and goes and plays Florida and gets skull-fucked. And then everything unravels.
Oh, that was so bad, dude.
Yeah, that was bad.
Fucking Spikes punting the ball.
Really bad. I mean, was it Percy Harvin on the 2nd or 3rd play of the game?
No, it was 3rd and long. I feel like it's going to be 3 and out. We got him. Yeah. They go over the top, and it looks like you're about to pick it off, and it skips off the safety's fingers.
Was that Carnell Hatcher?
Next thing you know, no. That was before Hatch. I do not want to throw anybody on the bus I shouldn't. Around that time, it could have been like Harry Coleman, maybe. It wasn't Hatch. Hatch would have been a little younger. Hatch had the one against Arkansas a couple of years later, right before half.
2010.
In 2010, yes. No, but whatever. It skipped off somebody's hands. My bad, Harry. I don't know if it was Harry. I saw Harry the other day, so it was in my mind. But it skipped off the hands. Harvard goes 80 yards, and the game is just fucked up.
It was over at that point. All right, we got 15 minutes left. Let's do questions. fire away.
All right.
If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Smash the like button. If you're on demand, thank you for being here every Wednesday live, 7 p.m. from Oliver Twist in Baton Rouge. If you can't be here with us, all good. Watch us live on YouTube or on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Facebook page.
God, that trim and grits is so good.
Patrick McKenzie, Jared LeBlanc, Sam Lemoyne, Thad Landry, Tomachita Thomas, Andrew Brister. Appreciate y'all watching on Facebook.
I don't think it was Danny McCray either. Maybe it was. I don't know.
No, McCray was.
He was gone after
McCray
07, I feel like.
Gone, yeah.
All right. Ask Scone T if it's true what they say about guys with big feet. What does it say about Bigfoot? You know what? It's actually not true, okay? And doing my Ecuadorian research earlier, I came across multiple studies that disprove any correlation between genital size and hand size and finger size and foot size. And yes, you may say, wow, T-Bob, how convenient, given your abnormally tiny hands and feet. You're disproportionately tiny hands and feet,
yes.
Okay? Yeah, convenient. But check the fucking science, you bitch.
I wear a size 13 and I have huge hands.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Check the science. Ask
Here's
Scone
the
T.
touchdown. Wait, here it is. It was.
Oh, dude, I thought it was about to be picked.
I think that was. It was. The second number was a 4, so it was either Harry Coleman or 44.
That is Curtis Taylor.
No.
It
was 20. It was Harry. It was Harry Coleman.
Oh, wow. Shit, my bad, Harry. I didn't mean to bring that out there. Luke Holler, ask Scone T.
Oh, no. It was Danny McCray. It was 44.
Oh, okay.
It was
Shout out to Chad. It was Danny McCray. Shout out.
It was Danny McCray.
Ask
No
Scone
doubt
T.
it was Danny McCray. And it's such a bummer, too, because he got his hand on the ball.
He did. It looked like it was going to be picked. 3rd and long.
I'm glad, dude. I watched that game with Josh Ennis at Pluckers. And we got...
Wow. Probably got hammered.
Bro, it was the most grotesque. Like, when I would hang out with him after shows on Fridays or posting whatever, it was the most grotesque consumption of calories. Like, we would go to the pastime.
Hell yeah.
And I used to love a pastime. He would literally eat an entire large pizza himself, po' boy and fries, have like 2 pitchers of beer. Yes, and then like if I had pizza left, he'd eat it. I mean, the caloric consumption was legendary. It was Joey Chestnut-like. I mean, it was insane how much he could, if he wanted to, just inhale food.
I love pastime. I actually don't love pastime's pizza.
I love the Big Ragu. Oh, it's so good, dude. Pastime pizza is
love
amazing.
the Big Ragu. Shout out, dude. Maybe I need to try it again. I haven't tried it in a few years. I'll give it another shot.
Pastime pizza's incredible.
I mean, to me, pastime, I was always a roast beef po' boy guy, but that's my grandpa raised me.
But do you just like big, thick crust? Like, do you need a big, doughy crust?
And what about the crust? Because sauce. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try it again before I comment. Let me try it again before I comment. It's been years.
You like a meat lover's pizza?
It's been years.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I love meat.
Oh, you got to go get the Big Ragu.
Okay, I'll get the Big Ragu.
That's one of my favorite pizzas.
Shout out to the Big Ragu. I remember meeting him back in 2003.
What's he
as
doing?
a young man outside of the SEC championship with my grandfather.
I've seen him in a minute.
And they all had sugar cubes that they were handing out to everyone because LSU was going to the Sugar Bowl.
Dylan Horn
2001, excuse me.
Dylan Horn said, what's holding Brian Thomas back from being a star on this team? All the really good receivers ahead of him.
Wait, what's that?
What's holding Brian Thomas back from being a star?
Yeah.
All the good receivers ahead of him.
It's a great position group. It's the best on the team. Other than FSU's D-line against LSU's offensive line, what concerns you most about FSU? This is the thing. If you dive into the numbers, FSU is not intimidating at all. They were awful from an EPA standpoint, both offensively and defensively. On 3rd down last year, they were horrible. I think offensively they ranked like 105th. Defensively it was like 110th. Like, they were not a good football team. Now, the defense is the strength of the team. They have a running back who's a freshman last year who is hyper explosive, and they were kind of explosive running the ball, but like, I don't know. There's actually not much that concerns me about FSU, unless it's just like your LSU concerns suck, which, like we said, the O-line is one, I guess, middle linebacker, cornerback, but I don't think FSU can take advantage of those.
So it's weird. Florida State and LSU are kind of mirror images. They've got a mishmash offensive line. They really don't have – the big difference is LSU has skill. They don't have good receivers, and they don't have a lot of depth at running back. Their defensive line is really good, but they got a lot of questions at the 2nd and 3rd levels, and they have a giant question at place kicker. I mean, it's almost – I mean, the two teams kind of are mirror images. That's why I do like LSU in the game. The sort of you should have the home crowd advantage. I like Brian Kelly. I think coaching matters. I think I told you this last week. If I'm ever looking at a toss-up, I look at 3 things: quarterback, coach, venue. Quarterback, Jordan Travis has played a good bit, but if it's Jordan Travis and Jaden Daniels, Daniels actually has more experience and more skins on the wall. Kelly over Norvell in the venue, I think you got to get to LSU.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, all great points.
I mean, that's why I'm not.
And it's basically, like you said, venue's basically a home game.
I'm not super bullish. Like, I'm not telling you. I think I've seen some people like, oh, LSU's going to win 34-10. I'm like, no, they're fucking not. But I do like LSU a little bit better in the game.
All right, next up. Alex Godet. Okay, never mind. He says, what are the odds T-Rob brings up the Ecuador men's combo? Already done. Kobe, hashtag Ask Scone T. How disciplined is this LSU team? Can it cost us a game or win us a game? I would, again, go to that documentary, The Fallout, that I've been watching. The SWAT team, right? The summer and spring, what they call it, summer and spring weight room accountability teams, I think is what it maybe SWAT stood for.
Don't
but
care.
whatever.
Yeah.
The entire process that Brian Kelly has instilled, literally everything goes back to consistent, applied actions and habit creations and being accountable to your brother. You will see a more disciplined LSU team than you have in a couple of years.
I'm sorry, I laughed at. It's your boy Bilbo who said it's the Edison light bulbs in there. They at some point in the night they always turn the light. And they turn down these light bulbs, and it does make. Because I was just looking like we always by the end of the show we always look orange because when they turn the lights down we look orange.
I feel like it look kind of good orange. It feels like I got a little tan. I feel a little wonky. I'm drinking these peach crumble cocks.
And the bartenders wear like suspenders and stuff, so just kind of old timey feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, next up on here, what do you think? How disciplined is this LSU team going to be, Matt? Can they? Is it going to cost us a game or win us a game?
Next.
I'll tell you what, this electricity, it's a hell of a thing. Never would have thought I'd be alive when they made it. Well, I guess, of course I didn't think that because I didn't know it was conceptually possible. Wait, no, but what do you think? Seriously, do you think LSU's discipline will be a net positive or net negative? That's what they're asking.
Do I think they'll be more disciplined with Brian Kelly than with Ed Ogeron?
I mean, I think that's essentially what it boils down to.
Do I think the sun's going to come up tomorrow? Yes, I do.
Oh, wow. Okay. Bold take. Ask Scone T, what makes Saban such a better coach than the rest? What does he do that other coaches don't or just aren't good at?
He's got better players and he works harder than everybody.
I think that's partially it. I also go back to he has developed a kind of a program creation process that is very effective.
You're way overcomplicating it.
No. He
has better players than everybody.
Yeah, but how do you achieve that?
Because
he has now built a perpetual success machine.
Because he's really good. He's better at cheating than everybody else.
Wow.
He is. Like,
everybody can cheat. Everybody can cheat. That takes away from what he does.
He is better at getting the best players on campus than anybody else. And he has done it so successfully for so long.
Yes, that's what it boils down to.
Yes.
But how do you get the best players? Okay, that's the key.
You pay them.
And it is creating, okay.
And then you win, and then when you can offer winning, path to the NFL, and payment, you're good.
Ask Scone T, why is Miles Frazier playing guard instead of tackle? Because he played tackle on a lower level of football, but he's still obviously very talented. He thrived at that lower level of football. I think Anthony Bradford's potential as a tackle, though, is massive, right? He is massive. And so the only question with Bradford is, like, could he handle the speed rush? It looks like he can. And so you take all that Miles Frazier athleticism, which maybe would not shine as much on the SEC level, and you move him inside where you don't have to be athletic, but he's still a very talented O-lineman, one of your best 5. That's why he's playing guard instead of tackle. Let's see here. Let's get to the actual chat. Ask us, who in the SEC scares you if you're LSU? Quentin Major wants to know.
I think the whole month of October scares me.
Let's look up this schedule real quick.
So you go to Auburn, you're home against Tennessee, you're at Florida, you're home against Ole Miss. I think you are capable of winning any of those games. I think you're capable of losing any of those games. I think that's your season. I think you start 4-0. What you do in October determines if you're playing for anything of significance at all in November. So I would tell you I know.
So at Auburn, home against Tennessee, at Florida, home against Ole Miss. Oof.
I think you are capable. Can LSU go?
You got a 2-2 it, right?
That's what I've said. I think they'll split those two. You start 4-0, you split those two. You're at 6-2. You lose to Bama, you're 6-3. I think you're going to beat UAB. You've got to split the road games against Arkansas and A&M. If you do that, you're 8-4.
It's like I feel like
where I'm
you
landing.
should beat Auburn. I feel like you should beat Auburn, but I just feel burned.
But
like
you should have beaten
so
Auburn last year.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And it's never easy to go win at Jordan-Hare. That's the other pain in the ass. I think LSU is probably better than Auburn and Florida, but that Auburn game.
Florida has a higher win total than LSU that I was shocked to find out. Like in Vegas, they got 7.
It's like 7.5.
That's what I'm saying.
They're both right there. They're both right there at 7.5.
LSU's at 6.5 from what I've seen.
No, LSU's at 7.
Okay.
LSU's at 7.
I'm looking at a different book.
LSU's at 7. The juice has just gone higher. LSU's pretty much a consensus 7 right now. But Auburn and Florida are just always tough places to play. You can't just scribble a W next to those. They're just
I agree.
It's hard. I mean, you played at those places. It's hard. It's hard to go. Just
especially
like
Florida.
Dude, A&M was better than LSU last year. They lost in Baton Rouge. It's hard to come to Baton Rouge and win, which is why I look at the Tennessee games and the Ole Miss games, and I hope LSU creates a great home field advantage. But the Auburn game is going to be LSU's first true road game.
I'm fascinated to see what Ole Miss is going to be this year, dude. I just don't know what to make of Ole Miss.
Lane Kiffin gets the benefit of the doubt. Jackson Dart isn't a great proven quarterback, but Lane Kiffin gets the benefit of the doubt. You got the 5-star running back from TCU who transferred in. I mean,
he's good at getting great quarterback play, right?
Yeah,
and like
sure.
that's
he gets
the
the benefit
key
of the
to
doubt.
Football. Let's see. Ask us, why do Notre Dame fans bring potatoes and meatloaf to a tailgate? Is that like a thing, or is that just a shot?
Yeah, I don't remember actually much Notre Dame tailgating at all when I was there.
Okay.
It was mostly people. I remember a buddy of mine came from Baton Rouge, up for a game week, and we were walking around campus, and we were kind of talking just like this, like at a very.
Yeah.
I said, hey. And he goes, what? I said, why are we whispering on game day? He went, holy shit,
it's like a church.
He's like, oh my God. Yes, that's what it's like. That's really what it's like. I've seen a lot of games in that stadium. It's not a very it's beautiful, it's historic, it's all those things, your tradition and everything. It's not playing in Athens, it's not playing at Jordan-Hare, it's not playing in the Swamp or Brian Dennehy or any of those.
Ask us, who do y'all want to start at QB?
I don't know that I have a strong want. I've told you all along I think it'll be Jaden Daniels.
I don't know that I have a want for victory. I want to play the quarterback that gives us the best chance. There's a want in the chest to be the LSU quarterback.
I want to be right, so Jaden Daniels.
Fair.
There's an honest answer for you.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting today. Matt Flynn says that he thinks that maybe Daniels represents the higher ceiling. Nuss represents the higher ceiling, but Daniels maybe a bit of the higher floor.
So
I don't have a one either, dude. I really don't have a one.
Do you know what this is?
Because I thought Brennan was going to start.
This is 2017 when you had Danny Etling and you had Miles Brennan. You had the excitement of Brennan and the unknown and the high ceiling, but you had the stability, consistency of Danny Etling.
The only difference is I'll say I think is Nuss is farther ahead than Brennan was at the time, obviously.
Okay, yes, and he's a second-year player.
Yeah.
But it's a similar situation where
for sure.
You know what one guy is. He's played a bunch of football, and at that point, Ed had to win games. He didn't have the luxury of just having a mulligan season because once they lost to Troy, they got blown up by State, lost to Troy. There were literally boosters putting together a buyout after year one.
Yep.
So he had to win, and so he played. He made the decision. Matt Canada wanted to play Miles Brennan.
Yeah.
Ed was like, fuck you. Give me the guy that can function.
Danny Etling's still pretty fucking good, dude.
So Edling went out there, and they won. They went 9-3. And
okay, rapid fire at the end. Ask us, Omaha or bust next season?
Yes.
Oh, wow, really? I mean, I know they're going to be great, but you like Omaha or bust?
If you're not in Omaha, it is a massive disappointment.
Shit, let's fucking ride, boys. Ask us, favorite pizza toppings. I'm a classic pepperoni guy.
Pepperoni,
dude.
meat lovers.
I was always a meat lovers guy, and recently I've gone back to like pepperoni, vanilla ice cream. Like I just have a real appreciation for just like the
Ice cream on
foundational. No, sorry. I mean like in different avenues of life, I've regressed to just wanting the basest form of the thing. And can you execute on the fundamentals? Ask us. Am I the only person that's worried about Michael Thomas's hamstring injury? Seems like very bad timing for a hammy.
You're not the only person that's worried,
no,
but you shouldn't be worried. He's got 3 weeks from the injury to the opener. Just don't do anything. Get treatment and be ready to go.
And finally, Bilbo says, ask us, top 3 chicken wing flavors. I like classic. I love any sort of spicy Asian or Korean, like any Asian infused flavors. And then I'm a big garlic pepper fan. Yeah.
Pluckers, spicy ranch, Gold Rush, garlic parm.
Ooh, Gold Rush is rolling. Gold Rush is good. All right.
Are we done?
I mean, we can get more questions, but it's 8 o'clock. It's up to you.
Do you have another question?
Yeah, let's see. Ask us, T-Bob, what cocktail is that? Hold on 1 second. I can give you this. While I look it up, where is the pregame going to be hosted at FSU LSU? We're going to be at Rouse's off of Barone during the day, right? Me and you are, right?
No.
During the day, Rouse's?
The first game only.
FSU.
That's not every game.
Oh, no, just FSU. They said FSU LSU. Yeah, we'll be there. But we will be at Don Juan. We should say that, right?
Yes.
We're going to be at Don Juan for whiskey and wine. So after the game, we'll do the show at Rouse's. We'll travel back here.
You were drinking.
I'm drinking a peach crumble. Okay, it's a little peach butter, rye, almond bitters, egg white, lemon juice, old-fashioned bitters with a little cinnamon garnish, and it's quite tasty cocktail.
Chandler Watts, ask Scone T if we win the Natty. Matt gets to shave T-Bob's hair on Scone T.
Fuck. Sure, whatever. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Win the Natty? I think it's a safe.
Yeah, I'm down.
I think your hair is okay,
yes,
bro. Okay.
Yeah, I'm down.
Great. Have a great day. Smash the like button.
Y'all have a great day. We love y'all.
292 watching. 292.
I know. I fucking love it, dude.
Like.
We love y'all. Thank y'all. We'll see you.